thanks a lot.
First, let me thank everyone who's been involved in in inviting me here. As far as I can tell, it was a team invitation involving many people. So let me thank you all right at the beginning. And I'm very happy to be here to be part of the MBA Reunion program that's really just getting started. Gets into a company, we grow and multiply out of control until we control the company. And we consider it our own version of the Japanese karetsu system, or zaibatsu system, where once we get in there, within 15 years, you have to be a Tuck alumni to be vested. And then we have very large presence in critical industries like venture capital and private equity and hedge funds, as well as in key industries that we've been in for over 100 years, building relationships with. So we have this kind of symbiotic relationship where we're the center of that Tuck karetsu kind of environment. And as a vision, very few schools have that, and this is why I'm very proud to be here to contribute to it. A way to compete, and I would say probably half of our applicants who decide to come to visit us come for the network, not as much for the education. So the professors become more and more irrelevant the more you build your network. That's why we need a tenure system at the Tuck School. So anyways, I applaud your efforts to do this and give more power to UN. There'll be more stalemate because the Chinese will have a role in it and the Russians will have a role. The problem with a world government, if we put together the superpowers and give more power to UN, there'll be more stalemate because the Chinese will have a role in it and the Russians will have a role and so forth, and everything will get vetoed. It's going to be like the new Italian government, right? Two parties of opposing sides, nothing is going to happen except for it to break up and hopefully a new election will elect a more unified government. So that over time, as the arms race builds up, we're headed towards a new Cold War with a significant arms race. The Chinese have already announced that they want to build entirely new navies and that they want to be able to not only deploy in the Pacific but also in the Atlantic. And as they buy more and more properties in Brazil and in Africa.
The country start working for Chinese companies or having our children raised by Chinese babysitters. So what is the impact on daily life? Not so.
Well, I'm a strategist who focuses on corporations, and for the last 10 years since I wrote a book on global spheres of influence, also on nations. So I'm not sure I can answer the question of whether you should all send your children to Chinese school now, but I did tell my children that they should study Chinese when they went to college. And both of them didn't listen to me, and they studied Latin instead. So they went backwards 2,000 years instead of forward 100. I think that I can talk to the consequences of this new capitalism coming into place and Chinese hegemony, I think, will shake us in ways that we do not recognize now, and it's happening in little increments to the over the long haul, we're going to be chilled in what we can say and what we can do, and what our foreign policies will be, and even what our domestic rights will be when it comes to issues that affect what the Chinese government has said. And that is the real reason why the West has to win this battle for the concept of capitalism, because without winning that battle, who gets to determine what our national debt and continuing to grow at a rate of over $1 trillion a year in additional debt. And our Congress is talking about reducing our expenditures over the next decade by about $1 trillion. So even if Congress is successful, which they haven't come close to any kind of agreement on that, they're only talking about reducing $1 trillion of deficit out of the $10 trillion that we will put into place over the next decade. So we're gradually getting deeper and deeper into the hole, and we're borrowing that money from, guess who? The Chinese. They are our largest debtor today, and so there's considerable worry in political decisions so much as they're making technical decisions. It's a very, my last trip to China, I talked about my book at Peking University, and within a day or so I had meetings with members of the Central Committee and also members, is to talk to you about the latest book that I've written. And this is a book that is called Strategic Capitalism. It's created quite a stir in Washington. I'm now advising the Secretary of Defense, the Secretary of State, and the Secretary of Treasury with respect to the book. I've gotten a fair amount of...
MBA 2008 from France. One question, I mean, I think the power of China has been built from the Western countries because companies... The power of China economically has been built through the Western companies that were looking for manufacturing, cheap manufacturing for more profit in Western. So we create that trend. And is there any way to destabilize it using, for example, other country representation like India or other emerging country, even Africa, in order to destabilize that trend and change it?
Yeah, I think you're right that how do you set a global standard in business? It's through alliances. And you get lots of people who join up with your system. So finding the right collection of alliances who agree with you is important. The problem from a U.S. perspective is that the number one trading partner for Germany is now China. For Brazil, it's now China. Japan is now China. For Korea, it's now China. So our economic sphere of influence, our economic alliances, are now being gradually stripped away. And the question is, how do we put all of that together?
The question is...
I'm sorry, Pilar?
Pilar.
Yep, Pilar.
Yes. The question is, you're talking to governments, you're talking to organizations. Do they get it?
You know, it's interesting. In the U.S., it's changing very fast. It's changing very fast as we learn more and more about what the Chinese have been doing with respect to American corporations. And this is, let me give you an example. When I first wrote the book, everybody knew there was some level of cyber warfare going on, but nobody knew the amount or the damage that it's doing. When I went to talk to the Pentagon for the first time, and I was meeting with the Undersecretary in charge of Global Strategic.
Now, we have a break. We have a break now, and then you move to the velodrome.